Susie, and then a couple of the names that we had on our A list.
Right.
Really only names, but nothing too crazy.
Yeah. No, volume was really low in pre-market, but all right. Well, we are live for our YouTube channel, and good morning to everyone logging into the trading room at Stack. Good morning. Hope you all had a great weekend. And man, so we were just talking right now before we just went live on our for our YouTube recording that the reason why Viacom, Baidu, and GSX and Discovery all had these significant sell-offs. We are learning today because not only did Viacom raise capital, at the peak and kind of screwed the investors that bought at like, above $90. So those people are already down 50% on their positions. But there were some hedge funds that got huge margin calls and had to liquidate their entire positions. So that is kind of like the big story right now. Obviously, it's on all over CNBC, all over the internet. And those same names, guys, are going to be in play today. You can see Viacom. This is going to be the first name I bring up for my A-list. Viacom was almost flat in pre-market, did rally a little bit, but then sold off back to 45. So here's the thing. Viacom has gotten beaten down pretty heavily by now. The RSI on the daily is at 29.5. It's below his 200-day moving average already. Year to date, it is still green, which is kind of crazy. So think about that for a second. It started off the year at, let me see, like what, 38 bucks? Ran up to 100, sold off to 46. It's still green on the year from a year-to-date perspective. So that just goes to show you just how much this thing ran up and the destruction on the downside. So I just bring that up just so we kind of have the full picture. But from a intraday basis, there is volatility, and that's what I like about it. So if we see Viacom break above 47 bucks, we can go long. Put our stops at like 46. If this breaks 46 and we start seeing it come down to pre-market lows, we can look for a short. Put your stops at 46, 46.50, right? Small risk. I like this bear flag formation that it's creating, and it's just going to present really good opportunities for us today. Baidu is my second name that's going to be on my A list. I like Baidu a lot because this is another name that has gotten beaten down, as you can see on my daily chart. On Friday, we were 2 points away from touching the 200-day moving average. I had a limit order at 173 to buy shares for my IRA account, as a matter of fact, and I missed it by like $1. I was so upset because I wanted to swing it. And then look at that Friday action. It bottomed out at like 174 and came straight back up to 200. That could have been the easiest swing in my life, and I missed it by $1. So I'm kind of upset at myself about that. But nonetheless, today it's in action. A lot of analysts are coming out and giving it price target upgrades, pretty much saying that this dip is a buying opportunity. And I 100% agree with it. We could see Baidu get bought up today. So if Baidu breaks above, I want to say 211, 212, go long. First target is pre-market high. We could put our stops at like 210. So we're risking about $1 to $2. But if Baidu starts to sell off, if we see it break below like that 208 range, my first target would be 206, and then we can trade lower to probably the pre-market lows. I don't know if I have a gut feeling. I don't think it'll sell off today. I think Baidu will get bought up. I could be completely wrong. All I know is that there is a lot of range, volatility, and it's going to be at the forefront of a lot of traders today. So I like Baidu. Another name that I really like is Boeing. So an airlines came out and ordered like 100 new orders of Boeing airplanes, and Boeing got a nice pop. It has been drifting off a little bit, but I think Boeing's going to be in play today, and Boeing is a name that is really getting bought up for the long term. I think Boeing is a winner, from a swing perspective. Obviously, you can see here just I have like a 1 year chart on Boeing, and let me see here. We broke out the on March 11th, but then it came back down. Yeah, and we're trading right at the 8 MA on the daily and holding the 20. So I think Boeing is a great trade for today. Maybe even if you're not swinging it, maybe even swinging it and put your stops at like 240. I think it's a small risk. And so for me personally today, what I would like to see this little I think 250 would be an entry point on Boeing. If Boeing can reclaim 250, we can go long, put our stops at like 249, 248. We're only risking at most $1.50 to $2 on this trade for potential rip to the upside. Price target for me on an intraday basis would be the pre-market high, maybe even 255 on it. So and airlines buying more aircraft from Boeing is really, really, really good news. I think Boeing can get bought up today. Another name that I'm already in actually is Dlpn. I'm in very small position. Dlpn got a price target upgrade today to $28. This is an NFT play. If an NFT play got a price target upgrade, you know the day trading community is going to be all over this. Just to remind you guys, not even, I mean, within the past 30 days, this stock was up to like, what, $35, $36? I mean, I think we can have nice trading action today. I'm already green on it. I'm long from $15.30, and I think we can probably potentially see 20 bucks on it today if we get a lot of volume to come in. Right now it's trading very thinly in pre-market, but I do know that a lot of communities and day trading communities are going to be all over this one. So I like it. As a matter of fact, keep an eye on HOFV as well, because they created the partnership with Dlpn. Oh, I'm typing HOFV and it's not showing up on my charts. So I'm not sure if I lost some connection here or something. Taj, you hear me? Oh, all right.
Or is that?
Yeah, it looks like I have.
Okay.
Looks like I have poor connection here.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
I thought it might have been on mine.
Okay. All right. Well, it looks like it's super cutting out. Yeah. Okay. I'm seeing that I have poor connection here. So Taj, why don't you go ahead and do your A list, just in case if I cut out. All right. But I pretty much covered majority of the names. The other names, if you guys can still hear me, Draftkings and Credit Suisse. Just take it over, Taj. Just because I can see that I'm losing connection.
Yeah. Yeah, I got you, man. No worries. Like a lot of those plays, especially DLPN. DLPN, I really, really like it. I think this has a lot of potential. NFTs were obviously, you know, some of the biggest runners over the past week or two, and it is absolutely going to be one of the stocks at the top of my list. I'll briefly go over Credit Suisse and Draftkings. So Credit Suisse, what's interesting, they were actually at hedge fund day, and as a result, you're seeing Credit Suisse get hit today. Closed Friday around $13, and now we're gapping down to about $11. We're gapping below the 200 period moving average on the daily chart, and this is a name that can continue to take a beating. So as I see it, Credit Suisse starts to trade back below $11. We can look for a short, throw our stops around 11.20, and you know there's a really good chance this could continue to bleed out. Alex touched on it briefly a little earlier, but Morgan Stanley is also there's a chance that they were involved in this as well, that they took a hit from this. So keep an eye on Morgan Stanley as well. That's going to be MS. As for Draftkings, I know some news came out about them partnering with WWE. So that's good news, right? WWE is a solid brand out there for a very long time. And because of that, I think once that news was released, there was a volume spike to the upside. It has been consolidated here, but if Draftkings can start the trade back above, you could really look for potential long to the upside with stops around 63.50. This is, solid news for Draftkings because it obviously exposes their brand to, the rest of the market, which you guys, I used to watch it as a kid, not so much anymore, but nonetheless, there's still a wide audience when it comes to WWE. But how do you bet on something that's staged? True. But nonetheless, good news coming out for Draftkings. Another name that I wanted to keep an eye on is UPC. So this was actually a recent IPO about last week, Monday, I believe. And it traded up to $5.72. This morning, there was really no specific news that I saw. It just said, based upon volatility, this thing just decided to shoot up almost $27. So that was pretty nutty. But now we retraced to about $6, bounced off of that, and now we're consolidating here around $10. The thing about this is the volume is still really good on it. Although there's no particular news that I've seen thus far coming from it, the volume's really good, the consolidation looks good, and you could potentially get a nice little bounce here, maybe up to $14, $15 if it breaks out of this $10 range. So as I see it, I would like to see UPC really start to break out above 10.20, 10.30 to potentially look for a long and throw our stops around around $9 or so. So we'll have to give it a little room, maybe like $1, $1.20 a wiggle room. But there's really no resistance until around $15 on pre-market action. Could break out above 15. Maybe we could see 20 on this. But if it starts to sell off below $9, potentially look for a short because there's really no support until around $6. So nonetheless, we can play it both ways. Obviously, the trend is to the upside despite that pretty significant pullback that we've had. But the volume's good, and I think a lot of traders are going to be keeping their eyes on this. Another name I'll be watching is GEN. So if I'm not mistaken, there was some news about phase 3 trial. Let's see. The company's phase 3 study of Dlpn achieved its primary endpoint. So really good news for the stock because of that. The stock closed at $14, and we're currently trading a little above $21. It was just trading at $23, $24 range, but recently we just had this pullback actually on this past 5-minute candlestick. So nonetheless, this is really good news for HGEN. Anytime you see anything associated with phase 3 trials having success, you're going to see biostocks, pharma stocks really act this way, right? They're going to really take off to the upside. Not saying that it's going to happen once the market opens, but during the pre-market session, you can obviously see that happen. What I would like to see for HGEN is to really reclaim $24 to look for a long. But if it starts to break down below 21, you could potentially look for a short, 30 stops maybe around $22, and maybe we can get a retracement back to 19, maybe even $18. I would prefer to play the stock to the upside because anytime you have news like this, there's a really good chance you can catch a nice pop. And once those pops pop and hold, you can get paid big time. So, like I said, I would prefer for it to trade up to $24, go long, maybe throw our stops around that same price zone, $22 or so, and see if we can get a pop to the upside. So, definitely going to be keeping an eye on HGEN as well. The volume is solid on it, and I think it's another name that's going to continue to move this morning. Along with that, a couple of other names that we watch every day that I'll be keeping an eye on. The triple Qs. Obviously, Friday was a very strong day for the triple Qs going into the close especially. We had a very nice rally right up of the low of day, right? Here at 3 o'clock, we had a bottoming tail bar form, engulfing candle just ripped to the upside, and the Qs closed at the high of day. This morning, a little bit of sideways action, right? Going back and forth between 312 and 316, which was that high on Friday. But now we're trading right here at 315. So we are gapping down, but nothing significant for the most part. Gapping down about $1. I would like to see the triple Qs reclaim yesterday's high before I start looking for any longs. However, if it does reclaim yesterday's highs, I think the Qs have a good chance to run, and there's really no resistance until around 318.60, 318.70 range. So keep an eye on the Qs. The Qs you start to see have some strength, shoots up above 316. Definitely look to play some calls. Keep an eye on stocks like Apple, Facebook, some of these names. Looking at Apple right now, Apple's already getting a pop with the rally the Q side here. And Apple's going to be in a similar position. We've been trading below the 8 MA and the 20 MA here on the daily chart on Apple for the past 2 weeks. So is today going to be the day that Apple tries to break out of that 20 MA again, the 8 MA again? Let's see. We obviously need some help from the Qs for that to happen, but just like the Qs, I would like to see Apple break out above this pre-market resistance here at 122 to look for a long. If there are stops around 121.30, if it's able to hold that. If Apple decides to sell off, you could potentially look for a short here around 121 and throw your stops at the top of this tail bar around 121.80. If you want to give it a little more wiggle room, you can give it to 122. But me personally, I'm going to be very, very patient out of the gates with a lot of these names because the market has been pretty choppy as of late, especially coming into the open. So keep that in mind when you're trading a lot of these names. Although we're calling out these support resistance zones, maybe just wait 5 minutes. I'm personally going to wait 5 to 10 minutes to really get a better feel for what direction the stock wants to go in. But nonetheless, I mean, those are pretty much the names I'll be watching. I think Alex already went over Viacom and Baidu.
Yeah.
So for the most part, Boeing broke down. Okay, just reading the little comments here. But yeah, for the most part, I mean, my A list is pretty much going to be composed of, UPC, the Dlpn, HGEN, and really going to be keeping a close eye on Viacom and Baidu going into the morning. I was in the same position with you on Baidu. On Friday, I placed an alert on Baidu at 173, and it traded to 174.05.
I know, man.
That was such a teaser, man.
We missed it by $1. So
I know.
I know. That's what we get for being greedy. We wanted that entry point at 173.
Yeah.
Oh man. But yeah, man. I think today, let's gravitate ourselves towards where there's a lot of media attention and where there's a lot of volatility, right? The NFT names can wake up today, so let's keep an eye on those small caps. The small caps on Friday, they were kind of dead, but I think today they can kind of wake up. And let's keep a close eye on Baidu, on Viacom, and of course, everything that's happening with Credit Suisse and these big banks like Morgan Stanley and one other name I want to look at is Goldman Sachs. I want to see how they trade today. Goldman Sachs is going to be on my B list, but they claim that they are not experiencing significant losses from this. Time will tell. So they did gap down. They're kind of slowly getting bought up, but let's see what happens with Goldman Sachs as well. So keep an eye on that one. But that's kind of like a B list stock. So with that being said, for everyone on YouTube, thanks for tuning in, guys. We'll see you all later once we cover our trade of the day and the top 2 trades that made us the money-making plays for today. So thanks for tuning in. We'll see y'all later.